Hi everyone, I am Ivan Carliadones. Together with my teammates, we'll discuss the Chapter 11 Evaluation and Control. But before we formally start our discussion proper, here are the learning objectives that should be met at the end of our report. So what is evaluation and control in strategic management? It is the process of determining the effectiveness of a given strategy in achieving the organizational objectives and taking corrective actions whenever required. So, ito yung pinaka-final stage ng process of strategic management. Basically, in these steps, there are two pictures, the evaluation and control. So, yung meaning ng evaluation is, it measures the result of a strategic action. While the control is, it takes necessary measure considering the gap that exists between the intended result and actual result in the strategic action. So, kagaya dito sa table 11-1, which is the evaluation and control process. So, it ensures that the company is achieving what it set out to accomplish. So, dito, pinag-compare yung performance sa desired result para makapag-provide ng feedback na kinakailangan para sa isang management. And with that, we will be able to evaluate results and take corrective action as needed. While dito naman sa table 11-2, the evaluation and implemented strategy, ito yung implemented strategies, parang ito yung guide mo kung paano may implement or may execute ng tama yung process na kinam up mo sa table 11-1. Measuring performance. Performance is the end result of activity. Select measures to assess performance based on the organizational unit to be appraised and the objectives to be achieved. So, dito, parang ina-assess yung mga strategies and or processes na ginawa natin para malaman kung nag-work ba or naging effective and efficient yung initiatives, programs or project na ginawa natin sa isang business para ma-meet yung sinet nating goals or objective para sa successful corporate performance. So, we have different types of control. The first one is output control. So, output control specify what is to be accomplished by focusing on the end result of the behavior through the use of objectives and performance targets or milestones. So, in short, it only focuses on the things that you can directly measure. Example na lang dito ay yung number of sales, working hours, and number of customers we have in a day. So, the second is behavior control. So, the behavior control specify how something is to be done through policies, rules, standard operating procedures, and orders from a superior. So, dito, it only focuses on the controlling the actions that ultimately lead to results. So, ang example nito ay yung mga various rules and procedures that used to standardize or dictate behavior kagaya na lamang ng mga dress code na pinapatupad or ini-enforce sa isang company. Another is yung signs na kailangan munang maghugas ng kamay ng mga employee before returning to work. So, the last one is input control. So, yung input control emphasize resources such as knowledge, skills, abilities, values, and motives of employees. So, one of the most important input control mechanisms are recruitment, selection of employees, as well as the training of the employees. So, activity-based costing is a recently developed accounting method for allocating indirect and fixed costs to individual products or product lines based on the value-added activities going into that product. So, itong activity-based costing, isa siyang system wherein magagamit mo siya para mahanap yung production cost. Dito, binibreak down yung overhead cost between production-related activities. Ito yung nag-a-assign ng cost na magagamit sa isang activity papunta sa production. Ang example na lang nito ay yung product testing ng mga employees. So, next is traditional cost accounting. So, traditional cost accounting in contrast focuses on valuing a company's inventory for financial reporting purposes. So, ayun, napakadali lang namang intindihin. Yung traditional cost accounting is all about inventory, which is company's goods and products along with the raw materials for financial purposes reporting only lang siya. So, enterprise risk management. ERM is a corporate-wide integrated process for managing the uncertainties that could negatively or positively influence the achievement of the corporation's objectives. So basically, ERM is a company's approach to managing risk. It is the practices or policies or framework for how a company handles a variety of risks its business faces. So ERM is important because it helps prevent losses or unexpected negative outcomes. So ngayon, magtungo naman tayo sa primary measures of corporate performance in traditional financial measure. So first we have ROI or return on investment. So return on investment, it is simply the result of dividing net income before the taxes by the total amount invested in the company, typically measured by total asset. So basically, return on investment tells you how much money you've made or lost on an investment or project after accounting for its cost. So next is the earnings per share. So dito naman, it involves dividing net earnings by the amount of common stock, also has several deficiencies as an evaluation of past and future performance. So a company nets profit divided by the number of common shares it has outstanding. It indicates how much money a company makes per each shares of its stock and is a widely used metric for estimating corporate value. Kung sa ROI, it tells how much money you made on an investment. Sa EPS naman, this tells how much money makes for each shares of stocks. So return on investment has its own advantage and limitation as you can see here in the table. But remember that ROI is the universally accepted financial metrics because it's simple to calculate, and due to its broad use, the ROI allow one to evaluate and rank potential investment quickly. So another traditional financial measure is return on equity. So return on equity, which involves dividing net income by total equity, also has limitation because it's also derived from accounting-based data. So return on equity or ROE is the measure of a company's net income divided by its shareholders' equity. So the higher the ROE, the better a company is at converting its equity financing into its profits. So operating cash flows. Operating cash flows, the amount of money generated by a company before the cost of financing and taxes, is a broad measure of a company's funds. This is the company's net income plus depreciation, depletion, amortization, interest, expense, and income tax expense. So basically, operating cash flows is an important benchmark to determine the financial success of a company's core business activities. So parte siya ng cash flow statement kung saan pinapakita kung magkano yung pera na na-earn ng isang business from a typical operations. So naka-include din dito yung pera na galing sa investing and financing activities. So next is the pre-cash flows. Pre-cash flows is the amount of money a new owner can take out of the firm without harming the business. This is net income plus depreciation, depletion, amortization, less capital expenditure, and dividends. So additionally, pre-cash flow or FCF is a company's available cash repaid to creditors and as dividends and interest to investors. And also, ginagamit ito ng management and investors para ma-measure yung kanilang company's financial health.
So, ang sunod naman natin tatalakayin is itong primary measure of corporate performance. So, ang primary measure of corporate performance is may dalawang stakeholder measure at stakeholder shareholder value. So ang stakeholder measure is method of keeping track of stakeholder concern. Ito yung sinasabi na sarili nilang criteria para ma-determine kung gaano kaayos ang corporation. So, example nito na nasa table is ito yung customer na dito sa customer. Pag long term, na may measure nila yung true performance in sale. Sa long term naman, yung growth ng sale na may measure na year by year and quarter of reporter month over month na sale ng company. So dito naman sa employee, example naman, maaring na may measure nila ang performance based on number of the suggestion. Productivity nito is, ang productivity naman ito is ito yung naman yung gaano ka-efficient ng paggawa nila ng mga tasks. So sa long term naman is number of internal promotion. Ito naman ay kapag na-promote yung isang internal candidate. So yung parang siya sabi na promotion. Instead na mag-hire pa sila, so ibig sabihin okay ang performance ng kanilang employee kaya napopromote. Dito naman tayo dadako sa shareholder value. Ito naman yung mga traditional financial measures ng mga ROI. Ito ay naka-focus sa cash flow. Yung sa cash flow dito sila naka-monitor kung okay pa ba yung flow ng company. Kung ibig sabihin kung dito sila magbe-base sa cash flow kung para malaman nila kung okay pa ba yung pagpapatakbo nila ng business. So mayroong sa share value sa share holder value naman is may dalawa na economic value added o EVA, market value added o MVA. Ang principle ng dalawang ito na ang business daw ay hindi dapat mag-invest in project unless they can generate a profit above cost of capital. So dito tayo dadako sa economic value added o EVA na tinatawag. Ito yung isang financial metric na ginagamit upang sukatin ang mahalaga o dinadagdag ng isang kumpanya sa pamumunuan ng mga shareholder. So parang ito yung mga share ng ibang kumpanya o yung mga kasapi ng isang business. Ito ay ginagamit nila upang sukatin yung halaga ng mga idinagdag, yung mga share nga. Dito naman sa market value added o MBA, ito naman nagpapakita kung gaano karami halaga ang idinadagdag ng kumpanya sa kabuuang investment ng mga shareholder batay sa kasalukuyang market value. Ito is yung parang kabuuan ng cost kung gaano kahalaga yung in-invest nila ng shareholder dinagdag sa business. So dadako naman tayo sa apat na area of balance scorecard. Merong apat na bahagi nito. Ito yung financial, customer perspective, international business practices, at learning growth o yung employee perspective. Dito tayo dadako muna sa tinatawag nating financial. Ito ay tumutukoy sa mga financial goals at metrics ng kumpanya tulad ng revenue, growth, profitability, return at investment o ROI, cash flow at iba pa. Sumunod naman dito is customer's perspective. Ito ay nakafocus sa yung mga pangangailangan ng mga customer at kung ano yung masisiguro ng kumpanya na nakakatugon ito o yung kung paano masisiguro ng kumpanya na nakakatugon ito sa kanilang mga pangangailangan. Kasama dito yung mga customer satisfaction, retention, loyalty, at iba pa yung parang loyal ka sa kumpanya. Sunod naman dito is internal business processes. So, ito naman is layunin nito ang pagtingin sa mga core processes ng kumpanya at kung paano ito magbibigay ng value sa mga customer at shareholder. Inililista rito ang mga operational metrics tulad ng cycle time, quality measure, at efficiency at innovation. So, dito naman sa pang-apat, learning and growth o yung employee perspective. Ito naman ay nakatugon sa pag-unlad ng kumpanya sa pamamagitan ng pagpapalakas ng kakayahan ng mga empleyado. So yung parang minomotivate nila. At ang organizational capabilities, kasama rito ang mga employee training, yung mga seminar, mga skill development, culture and technological infrastructure. Dun sa apat na yon, ito ay nagagawa ng kumpanya na masuri at balansehin ang kanilang performance at iba't ibang bahagi ng kanilang operasyon. So, dadako naman tayo sa evaluating top management and the board of directors. So, ito yung tinatawag na meron ditong chairman CEO feedback at saka management audit at saka strategic audit. Dito is sasabihin ko muna sa inyo ang ibig sabihin ng chairman CEO feedback instrument. So ito naman ay isang tool na ginagamit upang suriin at magbigay ng feedback sa pagganap ng mga matataas na ranggo ng mga executive, lalong-lalo na yung mga chairperson. Karaniwang sinusuri nito yung mga leadership style, decision making, komunikasyon. Mahalaga kasi dito yung komunikasyon sa empleyado, yung strategic thinking at iba pang mahalagang aspeto ng kanilang tungkulin. Dito lang siya sabi sa chairman CEO feedback. Doon na lang po sa word na feedback is malalaman na natin kung ano ibig sabihin nito. Yung para pong ating pong sinusuri kung okay pa ba yung ating manager, kung ayos ba siya sa pakikisama sa mga empleyado. So, sunod naman po dito is management audit. Ito po ay isang proseso kung saan sinusuri. Sabi nga po dito is audit. Sinusuri ang mga sistema, proseso at pamamahala ng isang organisasyon upang matukoy ang mga area ng improvement. Layunin din ito ang pag-evaluate ng mga pamamaraan ng pagpapatakbo ng polisiya at mga strategy ng mga kumpanya o ng isang kumpanya. At saka lastly, ito naman ang strategic audit. Sa strategic audit naman is ito ay ang isang strategy ng isang organisasyon. Layunin din ito ay suriin ang kasalukuyang estado ng pangangasiwa at kung paano ito nakakatugon sa mga layunin ng organisasyon. So, dadako naman tayo sa primary measures of divisional and functional performance. Ang una dito ay yung responsibility center, yung cost center, revenue center, profit center, at investment center. So, una nating tatalakayin is yung cost center. Ang cost center ay ang pangunahing tungkulin na kontrolin at i-manage ang mga gastos. Ang pag-evaluate dito ay nakatugon sa kung gaano kahusay isang departamento o bahagi ng kumpanya sa pagkontrol ng kanilang mga gastusin ng hindi direkta at apektado ng kita. So parang ito ay minamanage yung paggastos. Yun nga po yung cost center. Para pong binabudget. Sa madaling sabi, binabudget nila yung paggastos. Sunod naman po dito is revenue center. Ito ay may responsibilidad sa paglikha o pagtaas ng kita. Ang mga revenue center ay tinututukan sa paglago o sa pagpapalago o pagtataas ng kita sa isang particular na bahagi ng kumpanya. Sumunod naman dito is yung profit center. Ang profit center naman ay may control sa kanilang mga gastos at kita. sila ay ini-inspect na magkaroon ng control sa kanilang cost at makapagbigay ng positibong kontribusyon sa kita ng kumpanya. O parang ito po is parang ano din yung una, yung cost center para pong binabudget nila yung mga gastos. At last naman po is investment center. Ito ay mayroong responsibilidad sa paghawak ng kapital at paggamit ng pondo ng isang organisasyon. Ang investment center ay may control sa paggamit ng pondo at binibigay ng target ng ROI o return on investment. Dito po sa investment is para pong sinusuri muna nila dahil sila nga po may hawak ng kapital, responsibilidad nila na gamitin ito sa mahalagang bagay at pangunahin nilang pangangailangan. Sumunod naman po is itong benchmarking. Dito po sa benchmarking ay isang proseso kung saan sinusuri at inuugnay ang performance, proseso o pamamaraan ng isang organisasyon sa mga pinakamahuhusay na praktika o pamantay na ginagamit ng ibang kumpanya o organisasyon. Layunin din ito ng ang paghahanap ng oportunidad para sa pagpapabuti sa pamamagitan ng pagkumpara at pag-aaral ng iba't ibang pamaraan ng paggawa ng mga bagay para po silang nagre-research para may malaman pa o makadagdag na makakabuti sa kanilang kumpanya.
Counterfeit goods and pirated software and global problem. We know that 15 to 20% all of goods in China are counterfeit, states Dan Qiu, a law professor of Ohio State University. This includes products from Tide detergent and body washer beer to Marlboro cigarettes. There is a saying in Shanghai, China, we can copy everything except your mother. Yamaha estimates that 5 out of every 6 bikes bearings its brand name are fake. Casco network routers know as Casco and counterfeit Nokia mobiles phone can be easily found throughout China. Procter and Gamble estimates that 15% of the soap and detergent under its head and shoulder Vidal Sasson, Safeguard and Tide brands in China are counterfeit, costing the company $150 million in lost sales. A global MNC, however, needs tight control over its many units to reduce costs and gain competitive advantage. It is trying to spread the manufacturing and marketing operation of a few fairly uniform products around the world. Therefore, its key operational decision must be centralized, and environmental scanning must include research not only into each of national markets in which the MNC competes, but also into the global arena of the interaction between markets. Foreign units are thus evaluated more across and centers, revenue centers, or expense centers, that investment or profit centers, because MNC operating in a global industry do not often make the entire product in the country in which it's sold. MNC should use loss control on its foreign units. The management of each geographic unit should be given considerable operational latitude, but it should be accepted to meet someone performance target. Because profits and ROI measure are often unreliable in international operation, it is recommended by the MNC top management in its instance emphasize budget and non-financial measure of performance such as a market, search productivity, public image, employee morally, and relation with host country government. In 76, multiple measures should be used to differentiate between the worth of the subsidiary and the performance of its management. Enterprise resource planning. Many corporations the world have adopted enterprise resources planning software and ERP units of all companies' major business activities from order process to production within a single family of software modules. The system provides instant access to critical information to everyone in the organization, from the CEO to the factory floor worker. Because the ability of ERP software to use a common information system throughout a company's many operations around the world, it is becoming the business information system global standard. The major providers of the software are SAP and AG, Oracle including PeopleSoft, JD Edwards, Baan, and SSA. Radio Frequency Identification, RFID. Radio Frequency Identification is an electronic tagging technology used a number of companies to improve supply chain efficiency. By tagging containers and items with tiny chips, companies use the tags as wireless barcodes to track inventory more efficiently. Both Walmart and the U.S. Department of Defense began requiring their largest supplies to incorporate RFID tags in their goods in 2003. Although Tesco has experimented with RFI, the in Europe full-scale use of the technology provide the unfeasible because of the incompatible standards. Nevertheless, some suppliers and retailers of expensive consumer product view the cost of the tag as worthwhile because it reduces loss from the counterfeit and debt. Divisional and functional support. At the divisional or SBU level of corporation, the information system should be used to support reinforce of the enlarged in business level strategy through its decision support system. An SBU pursuing a strategy of overall cost leadership could use its information system to reduce costs either by improving labor productivity or improving the use of other resources such as inventory or machinery. Short-term orientation. Top executive reports that in many situations that analyze neither the long-term application of present operation and the strategy they have adopted nor the operation impact of the strategy on the corporate mission. Many accounting-based measures such as EPS as ROI encourage a short-term orientation in which managers consider only current tactical of operational issues and ignore long-term strategic ones. Because growth in EPC earning per share is an important driver of near-term stock price, top managers are based against investment and might reduce short-term EPS. Goal displacement. If not carefully done, monitoring and measuring a performance can actually result in the decline in overall corporate performance. Goal displacement is the confusion of means with ends and occurs when activities originally intended to help managers attain corporate objectives become ends and themselves are adopted to meet ends other than those for which they were intended. Two types of goal displacement are behavior substitution and sub-optimization. Behavior substitution. Behavior substitution refers to a phenomenon when people substitute activities that do not lead to goal accomplishment for activities that do lead to goal accomplishment because the wrong activities are being rewarded. Sub-optimization. Sub-optimization refers to the phenomenon of unit optimizing its goal accomplishment to the determinant of the organization as a whole. Guidelines for proper control. Number 1. Control should involve only minimum amount of information needed to give a reliable pictures of events. Too many controls create confusion. Focus the strategic factors by following the 80/20 rules, monitoring those 20% of the factors that determine 80% of the result. See strategy highlight 11.1 for some additional rules of thumbs used by strategies monitoring. Number 2. Control should monitoring only meaningful activities and result, regardless of measurement difficulty. If cooperating between division of important to corporate performance, some perform qualitative of quantitative measures should be established to monitor cooperation. Number 3. Control should be timely so that corrective action can be taken before it's too late. Steering controls the monitoring or measure the factor influencing performance should be stressed so that advance notice of problem is given. Number 4. Long-term is short-term. Control should be used if only short-term measure are emphasized as short-term. Managerial orientation is likely. Number 5. Control should aim in pinpoint exception. Only activities of result that fall outside a predetermined tolerance range should call for action. Number 6. Emphasize the reward of meeting of exceeding standard rather than punishment for failing the meet standard. Heavy punishment of failure typically result in goal displacement. Manager will push report and lobby for lower standard. And strategic incentive management. Number 1. Weighted factor method. The weighted factor method is a particular appropriate for measuring and rewarding the performance of the SBU manager and group level executive when performance factor and their importance vary from one SBU to another. Number 2. Long-term evaluation method. The long-term evaluation method is compensates manager for achieving objectives set over the multi-year period. This is the example of long-term evaluation method. And number 3 is strategic funds method. The strategic funds method encourages executive to look at developmental expenses as being different from expenses required for current operation.